Hello, everybody. My name is Heather Butts. I am the co-founder of the nonprofit Health for Youth. I'm also an assistant professor at Long Island University, and I also teach at Columbia University and St. John's and a couple of places. I get around. Anyway, nice to see everybody. Thank you for being here. This is the Williamsburg High School for Architecture and Design 2022 Makerspace presentation. We have 5 presentations today. We want to thank all of you for being here. A special thank you, obviously, to the Williamsburg High School for Architecture and Design. We also want to give a huge thank you to Executive Superintendent Watts, who is here and has been wildly, hi, Executive Superintendent Watts, who's been incredibly helpful with us. Executive Superintendent Watts, do you want to say a few words before we start? I put you on the spot.
Good afternoon to everyone who has joined. This is very exciting. Thank you, Heather, for your work with our students and all of the work that's been done with all of the partners on here. You know, I like real world experiences for our students, and these projects give our students exactly that opportunity. And it's amazing to see what our students can do and what they've come up with. So great to be with all of you this afternoon. I also want to thank the principal and all of the teachers and staff members who work and support the students. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you. And we have lots of partners who are here. So thank you. What we're going to do is when your particular project or the project that you're, let's not say rooting for, but the project that you're here to support comes up, if you have questions or comments, feel free to do so. And then you can comment on them at that point. If it's more than one, we'd like to hear from you more than once, obviously. But I see a lot of people on here that we know and care about and are happy that you're here. So feel free to join in. All right. And without further ado, the first project is the Tompkinsville project. So Tompkinsville students, are you here? This is the project that there is partnership with EDC. And we see some of our EDC friends. Hello, EDC friends. Tompkinsville folks, I see you. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Okay, great. And you have sharing capabilities. So whenever you're ready to roll, we're ready for you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, you sounded a little glitchy. I just wanted to let you know that, okay?
My bad. I don't know if it's the internet.
Okay,
Is it better now? Okay, thank you. So I'll pause it.
All right. Hi, everybody. This is the Tompkinsville Esplanade project. My name is Lawrence.
Hello, my name is Derek Ramos.
Hello, my name is Adrian Vargas.
Hello, my name is Christian Mendoza.
Hello, this is the overview. We are designing a waterfront esplanade located along the North Shore in Staten Island, New York. It is approximately 1 mile long. It will connect to the St. George Ferry, National Lighthouse Museum, and the Stapleton waterfront, uniting them all together. Well, we are...
My apologies.
What we are mainly focusing on is the region near the National Light Museum. These are the existing conditions of Tompkinsville Esplanade that you can still see to this day. Tompkinsville Esplanade has suffered a tremendous amount of damage due to Hurricane Sandy. Due to erosion and stormages, it has left Tompkinsville Esplanade in a horrible shape. As you can see in the 2 images above, you could tell that erosion has caused a horrible amount of damage, and the road has been blocked off due to residential buildings, causing it to be rendered useless.
Okay, so for this for the project, we had a few goals. We had a goal of expanding the bike and pedestrian access points, encouraging community building, providing recreational spaces, and developing environmental awareness, as well as preservation and restoration.
In order to start with our first goal to expand the bike and pedestrian access point, we proposed that we wanted to add a productive bike lane, which provides a safer alternative to the neighboring shared lanes, and that we can have it connect to the existing protected bicycle lane that's already there, and it would provide an even better path to Stapleton Waterfront.
So here are some of our ideas for a pathway that can be shared with the pedestrians and the bike lanes. These pathways, we wanted to create a safe space where not only people can travel back and forth, but also bikes. This expansion will lead to the connection of the St. George Ferry and the Stapleton Waterfront, and also be a safer way than the shared lane that's already in place. This shared lane is cars along with people and bikes. So we want to reduce the amount of accidents that could happen in this area by splitting up the cars that pass along this road and the bikes and the pedestrians.
So these we one idea we had for community building was to implement a community garden, and we were aiming to to make efficient and enriching garden space, as well as uh, encourage community interaction. And to the right, you can see a rendering, a top view of what we were thinking of as having a sort of pier in which like it's separated from the land, and it's also used for as the community garden and in a hexagon shape.
To start our third goal, which is to provide recreational grounds, like recreational activities, these are some of the spaces and amenities that we decided to go with. The first is a statue of Daniel D. Tompkins. He is the founder of Tompkinsville. This was founded in 1815, and he would later go on to be vice president, and he would set up our pier system in Manhattan in 1818. With that, we also decided to add other amenities so people can see the area of Staten Island, and finally some benches, places that people can sit down and rest along the Esplanade.
These are some of our beginning design sketches we came up with. On the left, we see a sketch of the overview and on how we started playing with the idea of these hexagonal shapes to include into our peers, as our peers. And we wanted to make something that's not too blocky or something that's unique to this particular waterfront. These shapes are not commonly used for waterfronts, so we wanted to include something a little out of the ordinary to make this waterfront stand out. Some of the sketches on the right show a overview of Google Earth that was plotted, and we started to sketch over it to really get a view and a perspective of how big things were to get a scale. And yeah.
So with those sketches that you saw on the previous slide, we that developed the design concept, we started to render them, and you can see the hexagonal shapes in play, and you can see how there's an elevated platform that's actually dividing the hexagonal shape into two. Towards the image, in the image to the right, you can also see another elevated platform to the right, which is more rectangular. And yeah.
This is a sketch that we came up with representing where all of our recreational spaces will be located at. As you can see, there's an open area where all of these amenities could belong at.
One of our providing a recreational ground, or one of the amenities we would like to include, is an aquarium. This aquarium could be a place where we could store the wildlife that's already in Thompsonsville Esplanade. This wildlife that's preserved, especially on the wooden piers, the old piers that were demolished. A lot of things like oysters and barnacles, they stick to these piers, and it's their natural habitat. And once construction starts, it's usually destroyed. So we want to preserve the wildlife. And these are some precedent studies we did on some similar concepts. The two, I can't pronounce that, but it's in New Zealand, and then the Gumbo Limbo Nature Center in Florida. These use the natural life around the whole site into a small concentrated space where they're able to be presented as a recreational use for the people that are going to be coming in and out of the site.
An interesting thing about oysters is that oysters' jobs are actually to filter the water so that it actually looks clear. So we decided that for our aquarium, we would like to maybe implement like a learning station for Billion Oyster Project, which their job is to restore the oyster project that has been diminished in New York. A long time ago, there used to be upwards of like 2 billion oysters, but now we barely have like hundreds of thousands left. But with the Billions Oyster Project, they've been taking care of oysters and they've started to regrow the population with the overall goal of cleaning our water in New York. And we thought that would go great so we could have clear water in our aquarium.
We also wanted to deal with the storm surge and erosion problem. So in order to mitigate that, we decided to look at some techniques that were used to basically mitigate storm surges and erosions. And you can see some of them are ripraps, water steps, bulkheads, and floating wetlands. And we decided to use a combination of those things um, in our space, just to add a variety to it. And here's a video that we put together.
Do you see the video fine? I don't know if it's choppy on your screen.
We get it. It's beautiful.
Is it lagging or anything like that, or is
It was for a second, but it's not now.
okay?
Looks great.
Looks good.
Yeah, it's great.
I love this.
Been working on it for a couple years.
So let me know when I can ask questions, maybe right after the video. It's just
Yeah,
beautiful.
we're gonna have the partners just say a brief thing. So EDC is here. They've been partnering with the students for a couple years. So just have them like to say something real quick, and then we're gonna open it up to everybody.
Yeah, so you could start asking questions. I mean, you could ask questions now. This is really the ending slide.
So yeah, so for the partner, first of all, for the students, I mean, great job. This project is over 2 years old. Some of you have been on it for a while. Some of you have been on it more recently. The sheer effort that you put into it, especially in the era of COVID, is incredible. I know all of you have seen the area and been to Staten Island and visited. I'm very proud of you. I probably just keep saying that today, but I'm very proud of you, proud of the work that you've done. And Just great job. All right, so first let's hear from you. Just it's lovely. Just let it play. Let it play. So first, EDC, you're here. Thank you for partnering with the students for several years as well. Do you have anything to say first?
Just great job and kudos, as you said. I think even in the last iteration we saw, I give the team credit for really distilling your ideas down to the 4 that you identified. And, you know, the graphics that accompany them are amazing. We've never seen this video before. Definitely, please send us this video and presentation so we can send it with our design consultants that are working on this project. I think this tool is something great that we could, you know, incorporate in more of our projects that we present to the community, so it really comes to life. I think some of my favorite aspects of this are your idea about this hex shape. I think it is an exciting shape, and getting kind of that overwater garden and aquarium and just the environmental awareness as a goal is something that's just, you know, so important to New York City and its future with climate change and resiliency. I really like the different elevations you incorporated here and the bike lane going under that platform. This area is constrained for space, so I think that's a really innovative idea. And yeah, I mean, all, you know, these renderings and graphics look great and really brings the shoreline to life. So really exciting to see and great job. I think one thing to think about with those ramps in your next stage of design development, you know, maybe in your academic or professional career, is just thinking about universal design. So accessibility and making sure everyone can enjoy these features, but looks great. Judah, anything you want to add?
Just want to echo Julia. Thanks so much for working with us on this. It looks amazing. You guys have really done a lot of work on this, and I'm so happy to see how much you've been thinking about on different ways to engage users in your design and how to make a kind of an engaging and exciting place.
Okay. And Monroe, did you want to add anything? I want to open it up to, I saw Kelly Villar had a question, a couple other people or comment. Monroe, is anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, no, I'm sort of dazzled by all the improvements since the last time I checked in on this project. So it's really fantastic. I think it's not directly a part of the project. I mean, this project I think is really sort of all about design, but I think it's good to sort of think about stewardship and maintenance when you do design, and sort of think about, for example, the community garden, like who would be stewarding that, who would sort of be the community that was for, and sort of maintaining it, taking care of it and stuff like that. But yeah, it looks really fantastic, and I give you all a lot of credit for the hard work. So thank you and good job.
All right, great. All right, so yeah, we're gonna open it up, and please let us know who you are when you comment. Kelly, I think you were the first one to indicate you had some comments. So please, most people probably may know who you are, but please let us know who you are, and then we'll go to anybody else that has questions or comments.
I don't know if you can see me. I'm not seeing my screen yet, but oh, here we go.
See you.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hi.
So congratulations. This was fantastic. What a great opportunity. You guys must have experienced, just as a person who's seeing this for the first time, and as an advocate for the waterfront, and you know, somebody who just has been, you know, fighting for Tompkinsville and communities around it for quite a while now. This is awesome. It's lovely. And I have sat with other architects and people, graduate students who are architects, and this was high level. I just got to tell you. So congratulations on that. It's the most beautiful design. It is exactly what Tompkinsville needs to be. Mm-hmm. So real excited about that. I love the way that you thought about the shoreline and the elevations, and also the views, and how you bring people elevated into the view, the stairs, the overpass. That is gorgeous. So, you know, thumbs up in my book. Congratulations. Just give yourselves, you know, please, a big round of applause for that one. My question is, I have a environmental justice waterfront symposium coming up on July 16th. I would love for you guys to be our featured youth speakers and sharing your vision with us. We will provide the technology for us to do an appropriate view of your drawings and your renderings, and have you come and present and, you know, really celebrate, you know, your work here. So I don't know who I have to talk to. So just putting it out there.
Yes.
If there's a way for us to get you to come, it's going to be at Snug Harbor. Everyone on this call will certainly get an invite. And we have, you know, a number of people who will be speaking, including some nationally known environmental justice advocates who will be on hand to talk about this kind of work. So would love to have your work there to complement it. So please let me know.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Proud of you guys.
I can talk with the school, and Miss Moose, I know you're on, so we can tag team to see what we can work out.
And I'll put my information in the chat, but I just,
Yep.
Really beautiful, really beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yep. And I think, you know, this first presentation is an example of what we wanted. I probably didn't give such a great overview of how this project started, but the 30-second version of it is that I've been working with the Williamsburg High School of Architecture and Design in my capacity as a nonprofit person for about 10 years. And we started doing projects like this with them, basically for just this, to be able to get the students engaged, civically engaged, also obviously to get them to be able to utilize their incredible architecture skills, and also to partner with architecture firms, to partner with people in the community, to partner with organizations like EDC and Parks Department and Staten Island Borough President's Office. So this really is a partnership with Staten Island Borough President's Office, ourselves, and the Williamsburg High School for Architecture and Design. But over the years, having all of these partners has been actually incredible in terms of being able to see these projects through. So proud of the students and all that they've done. And yes, we will definitely talk with the principal about that event on the 16th. And glad the students are getting the recognition that they so deserve, because they've been working on this for a long time. Okay, so our next project, and so far we're right on time, is the Snug Harbor Kiosk. So Snug Harbor Kiosk, folks, I definitely saw one of you.
Yes.
All right, great. You're up next, Snug Harbor Kiosk. Great. How you doing, Brian?
Hi, my name is Brian Juarez, now part of the information kiosk, currently located at Snug Harbor. And a group mate of mine named Brianni, she wasn't able to make it. So, but she says hi to everyone that's in the meeting right now. This is the table of contents. We'll be going over first the project intro. What is Snug Harbor? What's the project's purpose? Followed up with the kiosk concept of the ideas of the kiosk, that the final one, and completed with sketches and models. Then but last but not least will be the outcome with cost of materials, labor, and the pros and cons of our design. So Snug Harbor Culture Center is located in Staten Island near Richmond Terrace, and it's a massive community with 83 acres of land, and also has a community farm located inside where everyone could get local corn, carrots, anything. And it's also known to have like it's very popular for its attractions, its buildings, and the environment of it's very different. This is the kiosk, currently the current one located in Snug Harbor, which is relatively small. And Snug Harbor came to us for looking for a new design to bring the old one into a new light while keeping the same aesthetics as the current kiosk. This is all their needs and preferences that they requested, which was the new kiosk to be all weatherproof, safe electrical, safe placement, COVID safety, and easy displays with low utility and safety and assessment. For preferences, they would like to have an awning, a permanent awning, area to have like swag sales to sell merch, more room to store A-frame storages, a mini fridge, and better interior lighting. Now we're talking about the kiosk concept that we did. This is the current one. And you can see how small it is. We can only really fit one person inside, which is not what they really wanted to. They wanted to fit more than once. And you can also see the doors, the way they extend out. They have papers hanging on them, and they could get damaged easily when it starts raining because of the roof not extending far enough to protect the papers. And the picture on the bottom, you could see like how it's starting to have like water damage from the inside. Some sketches. The picture on the bottom is different pathways people come in and come out for the new kiosk. And the picture on the left, it shows the layout we chose to have for the new kiosk, which was later on improved throughout this whole project. And this was the final design, which was done in SketchUp by Briani. And see, it has a permanent awning hanging out of it, and also the new areas to put papers within the protector. And we also made it wheelchair accessible for people. This is all done in, these are renders. The one on the top is the one that we're proposing right now to do. The one on the top, it shows how the new kiosk would look relatively in real time and real life, and how people will interact with it. And the picture on the bottom left will show where it's currently located is used by vehicles too, which is also used as a crossway for people to pass and to like go to different places in Snug Harbor. And this is a little video right here showing the sunrise and sunset in Snug Harbor, which shows also like solar panels, which they requested for. That shows how the current like facing of the kiosk is perfectly all right with solar panels. Nothing will be changed. These are all the floor plans, which are all done in Revit. And it shows every measurement of the kiosk. And this is the floor plan, and the floor plan for the roof. We show all measurements also. This is a video. and I'll also take you into the inside. It shows how much more space the new kiosk will have for storage. And that'll be it for the video. And last but not least, it'll be the outcomes, which will be the cost, labor, and the pros and cons. And then here will be material costs and labor, everything that we needed to build the new kiosk, which is total will be 7,145, right below the budget of 7,500. That's the pros and cons. Pros is shelter from rain for people to get under. It's more comfortable for staff to be in. More storage space, solar energy, and it's able to handle more visitors coming into the kiosk, into Snug Harbor. Cons will be energy consumption, and it will take up a larger footprint of Snug Harbor. And that's about it.
Wow.
Thank you.
I know that I don't see the Snug Harbor people on here, but I do see Jeffrey Diamond, who is the Gensler mentor for the students. We should also just indicate that each of the teams had a mentor from Gensler Architecture and Design firm. And I mean, I probably share the look on my face that maybe he has on his face, which is a mixture of pride and also just like knew you could do it. And yeah, Jeffrey Diamond, would you like to say anything? I'm kind of busting, so.
No, that's all right. I told Brian earlier today when he shared this with me how proud I was of him. He made a ton of progress in the past week, and I know it was not always an easy project for them. They did great.
Yep, totally agree. Would anybody from the audience like to add anything? Any questions or comments for the students? We have about 5 minutes per presentation to be able to ask questions or comments. So if anybody has any, please let me know. And if not, we're going to move on to one that I'm somewhat biased about. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Health for Youth Skyline Community Garden expansion. Health for Youth Skyline Community Garden expansion team. Waylon, I see you. Yes, okay, great. This obviously has a personal significance for me because I am the co-founder of Health for Youth. The Health for Youth Skyline Community Garden is a project and a partnership with the wonderful people at Green Thumb, Partnerships for Parks Department, all of whom did something that's kind of a rarity for a community garden. It's for the community garden to actually be housed on parks property in a park. So we're really proud of that. The current garden is located in a bocce court. And some happy news that I actually just found out about an hour ago is that we have final approval for a project through iob.org to get a matching one-to-one match for funding to expand the garden. So we'll be putting the details about that up on our site. So IOB, for every dollar that we raise for that, it'll be matched for $1. So hopefully these plans will be approved. If not, we'll be doing a lot of expanding within the bocce court, I guess. And so with that, I'm gonna hand it over to the Health for Youth Skyline Garden crew. All right, it's all yours, folks.
Hello, my name is Waylon Gamori.
Hello, my name is Sebastian Psuyak.
And this is the expansion for the Health for Youth Skyline Garden. Oh, hang on. There we go. So this is our table of contents. So we have our design proposal. We're going to show you the site, the shed, an idea for a shed, the bocce garden itself, the garden beds we want to add, and the signage for that. So this is our design proposal. First off, we want to add a water collection system for the bocce ball garden because there isn't a very good one currently. Second, we want to add a gardening shed, which will be multifunctional. That will work, one, as a water collection system, and also to store anything underneath, which you'll see later in the presentation. We want to establish accessible garden beds and add some compost bins. And then we want to add some more signage so that it's easier for people to find the garden, and hopefully we draw in more people to come to it. So this is the site location in Staten Island. It's a very zoomed out view. That's the general area. And this is slightly more zoomed in. As you can see, our site is in a neighborhood that has a lot of park land. You can see all the trees there and all the green space. So they're kind of pushed up on a forest. And then this is the existing site. So those are the crossroads that it's at. The garden itself, the section we'll be adding is over here by the, I guess, yellow dotted dashed rectangle next to the tennis courts. The rest of this is already public park space with playgrounds, the tennis courts. There is an old horseshoe area over to the right, but that's what's there.
These are the site photos. So basically where the pictures are is just the area around it. And then the shed. So for the shed, to make the shed multifunctional, we plan on adding water, a collection system to it. Individuals can use water to briefly wash their hands or vegetables or fruit after harvesting it from the gardens. The water can also be used for other purposes, such as watering the gardens in a situation of unanticipated lack of rain. And over the shed can be a pergola water collecting system. This system would accomplish two things. One, make the shed visibly appealing and therefore attracting community members to using the water system. And two, maintaining the original use of the shed as a storage space for tools and other equipment. Breaking down construction, posts, beams, and braces, rafters, cognate the roof sheeting, gutters, pipes, and containers. Keep in mind, both contain dimensions of their own structures, which have to be altered to fit the dimensions of our shed. The bocce garden. For the bocce garden, there should be rainwater collection system installed. For the following slide, a reference image of the rainwater collection system that can be installed in our location. The collection system will reserve to hold or store water for the maintenance to access when needed. This allows them to both regulate the water being given to the plants outside of rain time and to store the water in case of long periods of time without rain, something more common in the summer. Bocce garden part 2. This system would be placed on the short side of the bocce court. PVC pipe on the bottom connector, middle barrel with 2 surrounding barrels. Middle barrel has a valve. Garden hose can be connected to it, allowing for the water to easily provided to the plants in the bocce court alongside it. More barrels could be added to the side if needed. The compactness of this particular system allows it to function without taking too much space on the sidewalk, making it non-hazardous and small enough to be considered an attached component of the adjacent garden. Things to consider: Maintenance. The main thing to consider for installing a rainwater collection system for this project is the frequency of maintaining and taking care of the garden. None of the system seen in the previous slides are automated, meaning that upkeep by staff is crucial to function for the functioning of any of the systems shown already. Compost bins. We could add about 4 compost bins in the corner to make fertilizer for the vegetables that grow in the garden, while also having a place for any spoiled, damaged vegetables. The compost bins will be placed in the shaded spots that plants wouldn't be able to grow in. For what we have measured, we have found around 150 feet of length and 15 feet of width. So the beds are going to be 6 by 3 feet. We can place 9 by 2 vertically with a 5-inch gap, and the native plant ratio is 30-70, 30 being the native plants and 70 being produce. For the produce, we're going to have basic things like tomatoes, strawberries, and etc. And for the native plants, we went for the native plants named below. And this is how I align them to be. This is the basic basic drawing of how they're supposed to be aligned.
So we want to add accessible planters and garden beds. So the way we can do this is by using wooden legs and raising the garden beds off of the ground. So basically people with disabilities, as you can see in the picture below, can still use the garden beds, and anyone else can still access them pretty easily. You can see the dimensions here on the slide for what these garden beds would be. For signage, we want to add signage for the plant beds so people know what plants they're looking at, whether that be native plants or produce. And we want to add signage outside of the garden and throughout the garden to guide people and to draw them into the gardens, so people know where they're going. So the image above, you can see the red X's. That's where there would be 2 signs stating where the Health for Youth garden is. An example is sketched by one of our team members down there in the bottom left. And then throughout the planters, we would just have small signs that would go in the planters themselves, naming the plants with its scientific name and its commonly used name, and possibly an interesting fact or other things people might need to know about it. For paths, we wanted to add a path to connect the main bocce ball court garden to the shed next to the tennis courts and all the planters that are back there. We want them to be functional as well as looking decent. We don't want a path that makes people want to leave. Kind of defeats the purpose. With the foot traffic that the garden gets in mind and hoping that it will get more in the future, we chose gravel paths. We chose them because they're affordable. You can see the cost there. I went to the Home Depot website and the Lowe's website because those were the 2 stores I commonly go to for things like this. And you can see the cost there for a 30-pound bag. We chose it because there's good drainage, so there won't be any pooling on the pads. And there's no possibility for any mud puddles or other things that people don't like walking through. It's eco-friendly because gravel is collected from quarries and other places, which typically becomes a waste product and ends up in other places that harm us. So by using it for a path, it actually gets some use out of it. And it's fairly easy to install. There are a few steps, but it's not as hard to install as things like stepping stone paths, which require a lot more work. And these are the resources for the websites that we went to find information on some of these slides. So thank you. Any questions that you may have, you can ask now.
I mean, I have to tell you that as most people know who know me, it's rare that I say I'm speechless, but you honestly thought of everything. Signage at the Health for Youth's garden is a joke. The only reason we have any kind of signage is because of our friends at Green Thumb and Partnership for Parks. And they nicely put up a sign for us a few years ago that's at the front of the garden. We have not done a whole lot to do a better job with signage. When we have events, we kind of put up these sort of like sad little signs that kind of get ruined very easily. It has not been a priority. I would say that that's been a huge mistake for ours. And I got to tell you, even for this presentation, it wasn't something that I had really thought about very much. So the fact that you put that level of time into thinking about signage and what that would look like it's exquisitely impressive. I would say also, in terms of some of the features that you have put in here that I think are particularly helpful. The compost bins, we're Health for Youth, the garden is now a designated compost site for the city. And so we do get a lot of food scraps that get dropped off. So the ability to process more of them would be helpful to us, and to have more of a compost system would be really helpful. And then the way that you thought about how the beds would actually be situated, and obviously we talked a little bit in our weekly meetings about exactly what this would look like, but how you position the beds to make sure that they would be accessible is something that our current bocce court, just because it's a bocce court, isn't able to be, but this expansion potentially will be. So I want to say thank you to you for all that you've done, your hard work, and I really appreciate it. I'd like to hand it over to, I know we have some people from Green Thumb Parks Partnerships, and then Ginsler. So any of you that have any comments or questions, please jump in.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really great presentation. This is Anthony from Green Thumb. I really like the small rainwater harvesting system design. It's such a unique way to collect rainwater, and a design that hopefully we can implement in some of our smaller gardens too across the city, because they're always looking for more ways to collect water. And I love creating intentional gathering spaces for people, especially because I know Heather does a lot of programming in the garden, and that just like makes more programming possible, and of course more storage so they can do more programming and store more stuff there without having to bring it every time they want to do something is always helpful. Thank you guys for putting so much time and effort into this.
I enjoyed too how Anthony just described two other features I didn't even mention. So it's, and we could go on probably talking about more aspects of it. That just shows the depth and breadth of what you just did. Anybody else from partnerships or parks or Ginsler have anything else they want to add? Can't actually see who all is in here. So
this is Carlos from Green Thumb.
Oh, hey.
Thank you for putting this together, and the team as well. I think they thought about features that gardens need. I think that's what is needed. So I have a few comments, very specific comments that maybe can be incorporated in the future design. It was not clear how the shade structure would provide storage. I saw that the space was open, so maybe think about how the structure will be designed in a way that can actually serve as a storage as well. On the topic of water collection for the bocce court, that was a nice design implemented for a smaller scale. Keep in mind that these systems work most of the time using gravity, and the bocce core, there's no elevation. So maybe try to think how you can place that system in a different level so they can, by gravity, the water can be used for that area. I love the idea of native plants and the idea also of accessible raised beds. I'm glad that the area proposed is the grassy area, and the grassy area will need, of course, a pathway. So it makes sense to have a pathway and the raised beds there. On the topic of pathways, we've been implementing what is called, or be using diamond grid. The diamond grid helps with keeping the gravel like secure and stable so you don't lose material. So happy to provide some examples of that. And if gravel is needed, we have it. And I love the idea also of signage. The garden has been always been kind of like you had to really navigate the park to find the garden. So the idea of going beyond signage, the idea of wayfinding, like how can we design signage in the perimeter to guide people into the space and showcase all these little things that are in the garden. I love the idea of having the signs incorporate the common name of plants. Keep in mind that it would be also good to incorporate the indigenous names of those plants. Yeah, those are my comments, and thank you for the hard work, and please keep in touch. Looking forward to see this implemented in the near future.
Oh, Carlos, I can guarantee you we'll be in touch with you. Andy's like, no, but we will be. We'll be in touch. The two things I just wanted to follow up with you on. One, the issue of gravity and the water, you're absolutely right. And I mean, one of our issues for years has been that the bocce court sits kind of in that open space. And the only other sort of structure nearby it is the tennis court. And, you know, nobody was real interested in us creating some sort of structure there. So thinking that through is something that has, you know, sort of stifled the water collection process up until now. But I think now that we have some of these other ideas, we can really focus on it. And, you know, signage, you're right, for what the students are talking about and what you just mentioned, it's sort of, it really is more wayfinding. I mean, it's more sort of thinking about how do you navigate finding where the garden is, finding these features, because if you're at the, you know, so an interesting thing about Skyline, the reason why it's called Skyline Garden is because it's at 206 feet above sea level. And so when you are at the highest point, you can actually see the skyline. So it's a pretty decent elevation. But if you're at the highest point in the playground and you're wondering what's going on in the rest of the park, you would probably have no clue. I talk to people all the time and they're in the playground, but they don't know there's anything going on in the rest of the, you know, the park playground. And they certainly don't know there's anything going on, you know, at like 170 feet above sea level. So I think the thought of having something where you're really creating a pathway for people to understand how to navigate the space is really what we need, so that it becomes something that people can appreciate in a holistic kind of modality. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Anything else? Okay, thank you all very much. Thank you to the Health for Youth team. Presentation number 4 is going to be Richmond Terrace. So we're doing the Richmond Terrace Esplanade.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just share my screen. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Richard Hernandez, and today, alongside my team members Eddie Gonzalez and Davin Parker, we're going to be presenting the Richmond Terrace Esplanade beautification project. So some of the things we'll be going over today are like the objectives and goals of the project and some other information regarding it. Then we'll be going into a site analysis of the area, the different programming that we came up with to add to the Esplanade, you know, and then how that would affect the experience of people who go there, and then the conclusion. Okay, So our objective for the Richmond Terrace Esplanade is to beautify the area and add more functions to attract more people and improve the area. So I've been working on this project for since last year, and with new team members, we were able to come up with different ways to um add attract people and just see what could benefit the Esplanade and make it better. So one of the things regarding this project is a statue that will be dedicated to Katherine Walker. Now, Katherine Walker was a lighthouse keeper who's saved many lives, and we are tasked to place her statue on the Esplanade, and just so that people can get to know who she was, because she was a great person. She saved many lives, and many people don't know about her. So that's why it's important that we dedicate a statue of her onto Esplanade. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. Hello, my name is David Parker, and I will be presenting the site analysis to our project. Next slide, Richard. So as you can see here, this is where the Richmond Terrace Esplanade is located, to the northeastern coast of Staten Island. And here you can see the neighborhood around the Esplanade. So the circle locations, as you can see here, are churches, schools, and as you can see over here, the Staten Island Ferry. So we circled those locations because we wanted actually to activate the area and bring the Esplanade to life. Here are the entranceways to the Esplanade through those areas that you saw before. From the left, you can see the church. From the arrows in the middle, those are the schools. And from the far right, that is where the Staten Island Ferry is located. And when we visited the Esplanade, we noticed overgrowth, littering, and high amounts of waste all over, as you can see here in the photos. The left photo you can see as the grass overcome the concrete, and on the right, as you can see, trash and overgrowth mixed in to the Esplanade. Here is the pathway of the main Esplanade, because the Esplanade is mainly just a pathway, not an actual park. But yeah, it cuts off when you go a little to the left. So here's the main pathway that we went down. As you can see, more overgrowth, little in between the concrete and cracks in the concrete that we saw. Here is the flagpole, and then as you can see before, more cracks in the concrete. Everything looks old, like it's been made 20 years ago and has just been left to the elements. And as we notice when walking through the Esplanade to our left below, we could see trash, overgrowth, and just trees and weeds overgrown in that area. And we really thought of activating that area too and putting use to it, as you'll see in the later stages of our project. One second, please. All right. Although it looks better in the spring, it still has many things that need to be improved. As you can see on the right here, that tree to the far left of the image, that's a dip in the Esplanade. So there's just the dip in the ground where anybody can fall through. And yeah, just cracks everywhere, and it just looks overgrown and undone. And we really thought of improving and bringing this area to life.
Hello, I'm Eddie. And this is the case studies and the inspirations, and it's going to show like what we looked into that's shown, what we looked into to get some inspiration for the Esplanade, to get some of the things that we're going to put into there. And in the case study, we've looked into different things like universities. We've looked into different parks, like the two you see here, Domino Park and the University of Stuttgart. And um, throughout these, we're looking through different details of these certain places, trying to gather different types of details, trying to put it together into something that can go into the park, so then it can bring more people, so that like the park could look better than it had before. And here we look into waterfronts, riverfronts, so you can see like different places that are kind of like the Esplanade itself. So we can see like what kind of ideas these places had, so we can try to implement them into our project. Mm.
So after looking at all the, you know, you know, after looking at the Esplanade overall, we saw that, there was like lack of life. There wasn't really much to do there. So we came up with this programming. And we thought that, this would like bring more life to Esplanade, it would attract more people. And you can see that, over to the ends of the Esplanade, we have like bulletin boards. The main use of those would be to, um, inform people about the surrounding area. And then people could also like, hang up posters or flyers of like community events, so that, people who go to Esplanade can also see what's going on around the area. We also have like this little art kind of section that we will have, and it'll just be a way to showcase, people creative, designs. There's a fitness area to, like um, make people more active, playground for, people who come there with their kids. The pavilion will be, to provide like shading and the resting area. And then towards the middle, we will have the statue. And then we also have an overlook that will kind of be an extension of the Esplanade. Here we have on the left, this is an example of like the art. So we got the idea from like the New York City subways. In some stations they have kind of like a monitor that shows like either ads or information. And we thought that, we could like repurpose it to like show a digital art showcase that shows art from like um other people. And then on the right, we have like, the bulletin boards, like I said, to provide information for the people. And here we have the overlook. Um, the purpose of this would be to like expand the Esplanade a little more, especially at that narrow point on it. And yeah, it'll also help people get closer to the waterfront.
So the placement of the statue was discussed between me and my peers before, and we decided to place it here to, yeah, activate. Next slide, please. Thank you. So yes, after a lengthy discussion, we decided to place it there because it would really add a cherry on top of the ice cream to the Esplanade. And we thought it would be more symbolic in a way, because Catherine Walker was a lighthouse keeper, and having her facing the waterfront and having people come look at her and have that say as a monument to her efforts and job facing towards the city of New York would look beautiful, especially in the spring. Here is one of the additions that are planned to be added to the Esplanade is a pavilion. So say when it gets hot in the spring or summer, pavilions will be there to add that extra piece of shade so you can escape the heat.
Here's an example of like the playground that we will have on Esplanade. We plan to make it pretty narrow so that the Esplanade still remains ADA accessible. Because that was one important thing that, you know, we wanted to maintain about the Esplanade. We wanted it to be enjoyed by everybody. So by having this playground, it'll be enjoyed by kids, but then also keeping it narrow will, you know, make sure that the people with disabilities can still walk up and down the Esplanade with ease. And, you know, one main factor of us thinking about this playground was the fact that the Esplanade was actually pretty close to many schools. So we thought that, you know, maybe after school, children could come here just to hang out and have fun. And here's also an example of the fitness area. You know, we want to promote physical activity, make sure that, you know, everyone stays healthy, and also people seem to enjoy, you know, working out in like areas like this. On the left, you can see uh, an example from McCarrion Park. This is very close to the school. Every time I go there, I usually see people working out in this area. And so I thought, you know, adding this to Esplanade, many people would also use it. Um, and, you know, it'll promote physical activity.
Here we have some ideas more ideas that we're gonna try to implement into the Esplanade, such as tree guards to like protect the trees from taking a lot of damage over time, prevent like people like doing stuff to the trees. And we also have the benching. The benching is so like it could give a more modern feel, and so like it could have like more of like it could attract some more people to it, have people like hang out at the place, have a nice place to relax at. And then you also have the flower beds to beautify the area and make it more noticeable to the public eye. Next slide. We're also thinking about adding more trash cans and pet waste stations and stationary binoculars. The trash cans, so we could try to reduce the waste thrown around, so there's not a lot of junk, garbage thrown around the Esplanade, left behind by like a lot of people. The stationary binoculars is so like in the Esplanade is like a nice view of the ocean. You can look around, catch a nice glimpse of like the area surrounding the Esplanade, the ocean, see whatever you want to. And the pet waste is, you know, the from the dog park too. And also if you just want to walk your pet around the park, take them around, just look around, and to make sure you can clean after them. Next slide. And here we have the plant life that we looked into. The plant life, these plants are like they're able to resist salt, like they can live in salt water, not live in it, like live by salt water, which is mainly what the Esplanade is. The ocean there is like full of salt water, so normal plants would probably die from this. But these chosen plants, you know, they could survive in this. And just like the like a butterfly weed, that's one of my favorites because it represents Staten Island because that place is associated with the color of orange. And also it just really looks nice to me and my workers or my co-workers. And then we also have just cherry blossom trees or the daylilies that we could put into the flower beds to catch attention of more people to bring them to the Esplanade.
Here, as you can see, here is one of our model slash renderings. This is the pavilion that I came up with. So we wanted to create a simplistic design, but have it still protect people from the rain, of course, and also have people gather there to say meetings, events, or just to hang out. And so that's why you can see there's say a wide interior and also a very simplistic roof. And we really wanted to make it simplistic because say any organizations or children's groups wanted to add, say, a colorful touch to them or paintings, we made that it very simplistic so they can add that, say, animals or people, say like a mural, I mean. Here's our next model of the overlook. Here, it just looks plain and it doesn't give it justice the way it looks in our twin motion presentation. But yes, this is the rendering beforehand, and when you see it in twin motion, it will be more lively.
So here you can see the renderings that we made in twin motion. This one I made last year. Yeah, you can see that, the area is more beautified. We want to add more trash cans, benching, just to make it feel more modernized and less run down. And here you can see the overlook. So this is what it'll kind of look like, right? So if we could, we would have found a way to like add the water, but like that was kind of hard to do. So just imagine that that gray area is water. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, they would be overlooking the waterfront, and then there you could see like New York. Here you have like a family taking pictures, and yeah, just looking around. Um, Overlooks often are really they bring a lot of attraction, and many people like go there just to be closer to the waterfront and just look at the overall area. And here you can see the pavilion that we made in Rhino. It's rendered here. You can see that people are inside, sitting down in the shade and, just talking. And, we kept in mind not to make it too big so that, people who are ADA can, easily pass through without, being bothered by that. Here's another view of the pavilion. And then this is the inside. Yeah, you could just see that people are just enjoying themselves, sitting down. And then this is the playground that we had in mind. We imagined that kids would come here just to hang out, or even just like, sit down. But yeah, this will be the pavilion is where, like the parents could go to sit down. It'll be near the playground, so, they can watch their children from a pretty safe distance while they hang around near the playground. And then this is just another rendering of like, how the Esplanade would look uh, towards like the beginning and endings where there isn't any programming. And yeah, the view looks great. And yeah, we also want to mention that, it'd be nice to add more like, lighting so that during the nighttime, right, people feel safer and, that the area is more lit so that, people just feel safe walking around. Okay, so that is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, we can answer them.
Great job. And she just left, Colleen. I know Jamie Goldberg from the Staten Island Borough President's Office is here, so we're glad to have you here, Jamie. We've got some Staten Islanders who've also been here too. I know Susan Fowler's here. Janet Dugo is here. All of them, in terms of a project like this that truly has an impact on North Shore, Staten Island, would be important to have those individuals be involved in it. And also I want to acknowledge Sheila Roberts, who is from the Staten Island Superintendent's Office and here on behalf of Marion Wilson. So thank you very much. We also have an elected official here. Oh yes, Sheila Roberts, I just saw you maybe come on camera.
Yes, thank you, Heather. Thank you so much for the invitation. On behalf of the superintendent's office, this is a fascinating time and presentation, and I'll be happy to share all of the wonderful projects that were shared here this afternoon. Thank you for the invitation.
I'm so glad that you could make it. I think this is the first time I've seen you in sort of real life. So we've talked a kabillion times, but it's nice to see you.
Absolutely.
So thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
You're quite welcome.
Okay, and then I just wanted to give a hello to Robert Perkins, who I don't know if you can come on camera or you can say a few words, but Mr. Perkins is an elected official in Staten Island and has been very supportive of the work that Help for Youth does, but also just work done on Staten Island. So are you there, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, I most certainly am here.
Great.
I was actually just getting in the house, so if you see my backyard in the house there, just don't pay no attention. I'm not camera ready, but I come on anyway. Okay, am I on there? Not yet? Okay, I thought I was.
There you are.
I'm somewhere on there. Hello, everybody. How you doing? I'm Robert Perkins, the male district leader for the 61st District North Shore. I'm also the parent coordinator IS 49. Any possible help I can give you, please feel free to reach out. I'm all for that. I think everybody's idea is excellent, and I can see you really had a lot of thoughts on it. Definitely well presented. So wherever you at, if you need some help, especially the North Shore, just reach out and I got y'all guys. All right. God bless you and thanks for the invite, Heather.
Of course. Thank you for accepting the invite.
You're welcome.
Anything else that anybody else wants to say about this project? And because we're actually running a little ahead of schedule, when we do the final presentation, which will be Lake Como, we'll take about 5 minutes for any final thoughts or comments. So if anybody's got comments about this one, let me know. And if not, we are heading to the home stretch with Lake Como. Okay, thank you very much, Richmond Terrace. Beautiful presentation. Again, another project that has been several years in the making with some of the students working on it for 2 or more years. So the kind of work in progress that they've done is really to be commended. All right, and without further ado, I think we will get to Lake Como. Jennifer Segundo, I saw you before. Are you there?
Yes.
All right, Jennifer Segundo, my buddy. All right, so we're proud to bring it home.
No noise.
Uh-oh. I think we got it. Oh, you.
I'm sorry, I was talking to my cat. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, your cat. We like cats here, so that is okay if you're talking to a cat. Yes, it's a cat-friendly Zoom. Okay, so Jennifer Segundo is the final presentation. I just want to also acknowledge that Jennifer Segundo is probably the only team, if you can call one person a team, I guess that's what we would do with Jennifer, but Jennifer has done this solo. So great job in advance, Jennifer, and take it away.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Segundo, and my presentation is going to be about the landscape design for the median for Lake Como. The mission that we are trying to accomplish is that to be able to create an environmental and socially beneficial pathway between Main Street and Parkway. We're also trying to encourage residents, local businesses, and the borough to participate in making the environment better. Today's focus for today's presentation is part 2 of the enhancement, where we're trying to create a sense of place to the environment. These are our major priorities for the pathway to the lake that we want to focus on. Some challenges that we can face during this is the remaining damages of the Superstorm Sandy, the current replanting of the median, and the different expectations from the stakeholders for the final designs. Some opportunities we have are the rebuilding after the superstorm Sandy, the enhanced quality of life for residents and visitors that come by, and what makes Lake Como unique. These are some existing conditions that we see from Main Street throughout Parkway. In Main Street, we see that there is an entry signs on the south side of Main Street, but not on the north. And also the bike line that goes from Main Street to Parkway. Plus, there isn't any banners like in Main Street between 18th Avenue and Parkway. In this slide, we see that there isn't any town entrance sign from the north side and isn't any signage showing toward Parkway or to the lakefront. Here along the pathway, we as well basically see that there isn't any signage that shows the way to Parkway. And doesn't tell you anything basically that we're in Lake Como. In this drawing, we can see that the median has 12 trees, and then we see the 12 new planted trees that were planted on November, and the pole and the 2 benches that there is.
Drawing that you did, Jennifer Segundo. That you did.
Here we're proposing that we should have more banners like there is throughout Main Street from the south side. We should as well add from north to 18th Avenue and Parkway. We're also proposing to repaint the bike line a color that goes with Lake Como, like the red, that I've seen that some of the banners are red or blue. And as well, our main focus is to redesign the median. The proposal to the entrance of Parkway is to have welcoming signs on the north side of Main Street to make the mural more visible for the people coming through that side, like the way people would come from the south side. On this CAD drawing, we're showing basically what we're proposing, like repainting the bike line red and adding more signage toward Lake Como. In the next slide, we would show the replant of the median with the native plants. Here are some of my median references that I had found that can help with my final designs. Here you can see some of the final designs that I came up with. For example, for design 1, it's showing how some of the native plants would go on the sides of the shaded and smaller trees. On design 2 is where the native plants are on the side and the middle of the smaller trees. Plus the native plants, the native flowers would as well go in the middle of the shaded trees and small. On design 3, both native plants and flowers are on the sides of the median. And for design 3, 4, is a difference. We would have different types of rock paths that would go on the side, basically, and the flowers, the native flowers would go between like near the stem of the tree. these are the results that would affect our, basically on who we are trying to show this project to. So like for the residents and visitors, and it can affect the way they come, seeing, entering Lake Como, like seeing the way the town is, and it's public spaces, how before the storm came and now. It also gives the pedestrians and bicyclists a more eco-friendly transportation when they pass by through the median or from Main Street to Parkway. As well, it increases the opportunities for the wildlife and reduces pollution, and that's what we want for Lake Como, basically. Thank you.
All right. I mean, thank you, Jennifer, for all your hard work. Solo. I know we have some Lake Como folks here, so I'm gonna hand it off to them. I think I probably worked the most with the Health for Youth group, but probably the most with Jennifer specifically and this project. And so to see where it was to where it's come to now, and also to see Jennifer have to work with a lot of the obstacles everybody else has worked with, and also keep her cheer and good spirit, and also have to manage lots of adult personalities. I say that she did an incredible job. So very proud of you. Proud of your hard work at 9 a.m., 9 p.m., 2 a.m., and so forth. And looking forward to the final results of this project. So I'm going to hand it over to, yes, great job. I'm going to hand it over to Lake Como. I know John Gibbs is here. I know the environmental commissioner, Dr. Marilyn Weber is here. So anybody with comments from Lake Como?
Hi, I'm Dr. Weber from the chair of the Environmental Commission. Jennifer, you did a wonderful job. I think it's your ideas for the median are a great improvement. The trees that we've planted are doing well, and we've organized the neighbors to keep the young ones watered. So I think any further plantings, especially with the pollinators and the native plants, would be great. And I appreciate all your ideas and your comments. I think they're very beneficial, and thank you.
Oh, I think John's trying to speak, but he's on mute.
How about that? I'm supposed to have a little bit of practice at this, but I don't know. It almost never worked. Jennifer, thank you very much. This you've done a wonderful job on this, working on your own. And I have to mention and let everybody know that you have not been able to come down here. So you've done the whole thing with photographs, Google Earth, and things like that, which is a very impressive feat. And the other thing I like is you're always full of ideas. That one slide which you did, which has a lot of different ideas, which is very nice. Nice for people to see that there are other things, that can be done. And I've talked to quite a number of people along Parkway, and there are a lot of different ideas, but each person has his own idea, and they like that. So what you've done with that slide, it says, wait, folks, there's a bunch of other ideas that are also possible as well. I've had somebody say you can't do a landscape design that doesn't need maintenance. Well, you can. And a couple of those you've shown don't need much maintenance. So so that's a good thing. The other thing, those 4 designs, they're lovely. They're absolutely lovely. I like your graphic touch. It just carries on from the collage you did on the litter you know, when you did the part one. So that's really nice. Now, there's one thing that I like, one of the ones I like, one of the alternatives I like is the one which has the much tighter planting, because the much tighter you put your plants, the less mulch you need, less chance for weeds, and you get a lot more flowers per square foot that way. And there's a saying that master gardeners say that if you can see mulch, you don't have enough plants. So that's a really good alternative. There's another one, I can't remember whether it's 3 or 4 or whatever, but there's one where you show flowers under the trees. Now that's quite an advanced concept actually, because we found that if you have turf grass under trees, it makes the roots compete for water, and the roots become shallow, and the tree becomes vulnerable. But if you put native plants underneath the trees, the roots are deeper and the tree can coexist with them much better. So that option will play well. Very interesting. One thing which you've hit on, perhaps by accident, I don't know, which is fantastic. Dr. Weber, you'll love this. The one with the rocks along the side, because there's a big controversy about people, but it's a narrow road, and the people which have the parking on the side, they wonder a little bit about getting out of their parking, out of their driveways without driving on a median. So I'm not sure if it would wear well, but it's a great idea of the rocks being there. I'm just thinking what'll happen with that when that hits the wave. So that's a great idea. That's a really good one. The other thing that we might think about is maybe going forward is on the no parking side. Of course, that's where the fire trucks can go, and they have to have access across the median. So it might be worth thinking about, you know, how often that access has to be. Does it have to be every house or whatever, and things like that. And so that'll be an interesting thing. And I think Dr. Weber, you would take that back to the Environmental Commission, see what people think about that, perhaps, you know?
Yes,
and,
definitely.
Yes, and so anyway, so one of the beautiful things about having Williamsburg do this kind of a project is because of what it throws up, the ideas that it throws up. And in that respect, Jennifer, you've really done a super job. It's very nice. And that's pretty much it. That's I love those four drawings are beautiful. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments before we decide to close this out? We're ahead of schedule. Isn't that nice? We're not running behind. Okay, so thank you all for being here. We're going to make the video available to everyone, and we'll work with the school to have it available to them as well. We're always looking for more projects. So right now, we're going to probably for 2022, 2023, revisit the Staten Island wayfinding project. So Janet Dugo, don't worry, I got you. So we'll revisit that. We still have the Reformed Church at Port Richmond to get off the ground. Richmond Town, which I'm personally excited about. We're going to be doing a project at Richmond Town, so we'll definitely be working on that. But we are looking for other suggestions. So if you know of a vacant lot, something in disrepair, or something that's falling apart, and you're thinking to yourself, I think that could use that special touch of the Williamsburg High School for Architecture and Design students, please let me know. And when we start to pull together the project, every summer we work with the Staten Island Borough President's Office to pull together the new crop of projects. So we'll probably have another 6 or 7 for this year. So looking for another 3 or 4. So please bring your suggestions to us, and we can put them in. I feel like Sheila Roberts, you might have some ideas about projects. I could feel like I could see it on your face. So please bring those projects to us, and then we will have suggestions. And if you're interested in being a partner in this, please also let us know. We're always looking for mentors and for people to work with the students, especially around brainstorming and ideas. So please let us know. And with that, we will say goodbye. Thank you, everyone, and stay
Thank you.
tuned.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.